For the Emperor! For the Emperor! For the Emperor! For the Emperor!
Yes, for the Emperor, guys. Today, we are using the Blocking Thunder Hammer, and we're going to jump into Absolute 2.0 with this. Now, on console, on PS5, I've been leveling up the Assault class. I've been trying to get it to Prestige 4. Now, here we have a Prestige 2. However, I do now have a Prestige 4 Assault class, which is nice. Even here, you can tell I'm pretty close to leveling up. So, yeah, now on console, I do have a Prestige 4 Bulwark and a Prestige 4 Assault class. And the next one I am going to aim for is Vanguard. However, I am very much enjoying my time playing this class recently, especially with the Blocking Thunderhammer. The Blocking Thunderhammer is one of my favorite weapons in the game. The first time I started playing this class, I was using the Blocking Thunderhammer. In fact, when I was learning how to use block, I was using the Blocking Thunderhammer. And against the CARNIFEX here, it's going to be pretty easy to get up, to get your block stacks. However, I did try to keep my distance here. Considering that there are a fair amount of ranged majors, I didn't want to get stuck in a spot for too long, so I definitely just tried to move around here. Now, once you start to see gaunts start to pile up, that is the worst case scenario for the Blocking Thunderhammer sometimes, is just the fact that gaunts can seriously start to pressure you. And yes, contested health goes away very fast using this weapon, unfortunately. See, even with these charge attacks, oh man, that contested health is terrible. But still, I enjoy the weapon. It is a fun weapon. Getting giant slams is very fun. But yeah, it's really hard to argue the state of this weapon when it comes to sustainability for this class. I really hope the devs revisit this weapon extensively. I just think that the weapon overall is fine for damage, but its survivability and some of the functions on it just don't work as smoothly as other melee weapons. So yeah, when it comes to CARNIFEXs, as you can see there, I got a pretty big slam there. But when it comes to gaunts and the chip damage with the Thunderhammer, yeah, you're better off just using your heavy bolt pistol against gaunts, or just, I guess, slamming down repeatedly. That's something you could do. But I wanted to save my slams for the CARNIFEX in case that I get a charged blocking slam. But still, I had the slam right there, so I went for it, just making sure that we are doing our best to chip down this CARNIFEX. And I have to admit, I think the Blocking Thunderhammer and the Assault Slams in general are actually really good against CARNIFEXs, essentially because of when you slam, you can stun them for a bit, and then not to mention, they can also get stunned hitting into a wall. So you're actually in a pretty good position to stun lock, in a way, the CARNIFEX. If they hit into the wall, get stunned, you punish them. As soon as they start to recover, you get a ground slam, you get a jetpack slam going with the Assault class, and you get another stun. Yeah, you're in a pretty good position against the CARNIFEX if you have somebody doing the ground slams on your team, which is nice. Unfortunately here, though, we do have a teammate with a Mortal Wound. And we also have a teammate with the Guardian Relic. It's pretty nice. But yeah, you're gonna see in this operation, it does not take long for us to find that second Terminus enemy. Also, if you consider the Biotitan, we actually take out 3 Terminus in this operation. But yes, that's the CARNIFEX. Gotta make sure, again, that you get him to stun the walls. You can stun the more difficult, basically the more difficult move loops the CARNIFEX can deal with. If they're, at least for me, now, when they are getting stunned by themselves, they are normally just rampaging back and forth. This can be a bit difficult to deal with depending on the room you are in. If there's a lot of walls, or if there's a lot of walls that are close to the CARNIFEX, these rampages aren't really that big of a deal because they can hit the wall and stun themselves. However, if they don't hit a wall, and stun themselves, CARNIFEXs are incredibly dangerous because what they're going to be able to do is run back and forth, set up those, basically that sentry attack is pretty insane that they were doing right there. Also, yeah, that was half of my health, contested health gone, which is unfortunate. We do not have good health support here. But yeah, with the CARNIFEX, one of the most dangerous things they can do is run back and forth without getting stunned. So here, I'm in a pretty bad position. Actually, right there, that Carnifex getting stunned was pretty huge, which allowed me to get some damage onto the onto the Ravener here. Big blocks. I'm waiting for the slam. I'm going for a big blocked slam right there, and you can see the damage. It feels really, really good. However, unfortunately, we do have a teammate who goes down here. And what's more dangerous than a Carnifex who just continuously runs back and forth is the fact that that Carnifex can be paired with 2 Raveners. As you can see there, my teammate has, I believe my sniper teammate is on their way to the ammo, to the ammo crate. And I actually didn't identify the second Ravener until it was too late. Once I saw this second Ravener, I was like, oh gosh, I am probably dead. I had to go for a block there to protect myself. However, if you go for the block there, you're also stuck. You're basically stuck in place for the Carnifex to just run you over. So I had really no options there. That was unfortunate. The teammate goes down. I have 2 Raveners aggro me, and then I also had a camo sniper who was kind of hiding. So essentially, I just took the aggro from all the specialty enemies there, and I didn't have a good option. I mean, when it comes to the Raveners, it's either they roll catch you, which would have killed me, so I had to block them to protect myself, but then the Carnifex had to continuously do this rampage, which killed me because I had to block the Ravener. I had to stay still to block the Ravener. I was also doing pretty well with the dodges, but like with the damage layering in that case, with the stun lock potential and the way they were dealing, basically the way they were doing the combos, I just did not have a good option. And let's be honest, this Carnifex, I have been pretty much dancing around this Carnifex for a large portion of the time, and this Carnifex could not stop attacking me. I feel like with this operation specifically, what I was meant to do here was take out the 2 Carnifex, 100%. Like, I basically jumped into this operation, took out 2 Carnifexes, and some Vine Mines, I guess. It is pretty funny, though. It is pretty funny how this ends up working out, because for whatever reason with this operation, with the Biotitan fight, I think the Biotitan fight at the end has some sort of bugged spawns going on. So we didn't really see that many like majors or any sort of enemy spawns to begin with the 3rd Terminus enemy, which is interesting. Now, I guess you can consider the Biotitan a Terminus. It is like a Terminus boss, but obviously it's not like you're not fighting it hand to hand. You're fighting it with turrets and, you know, a laser pointer. So I guess you can still consider it a boss fight. It's just an objective-based boss fight. And yeah, here's another Ravener I tried to get a slam on, but he ends up dodging me. So it is pretty interesting, though, with Termination, where technically you are taking on 3 Terminus fights. Here, we obviously 2 Carnifexes, Biotitan, and this is basically like the last fight we get into in this operation for whatever reason. So, I mean, even though we took out technically 3 Terminus enemies, it actually felt like we weren't fighting that many enemies to begin with, which is weird. Because yeah, in this part of the operation, I skipped it all the way to this part of the Biotitan fight, just because there weren't any other enemies. So we were just kind of looking around. I don't know. Let me know in the comments if you guys did this Biotitan fight recently and noticed that there hasn't been any enemy spawns. I don't know. For whatever reason, it just feels extremely light. We saw like a couple gaunts. That was pretty much it. Making sure, yeah, dude, honestly, making sure you can hit them through that fog is very good. We were able to get some good damage from the Biotitan. Dude, honestly, this fight is still pretty fun. I just, normally there's spawns. So, yeah, I guess this is like the second time I've recorded this operation with no spawns. I think the other time I was playing heavy or something, and what ended up happening was the fact that, yeah, same thing. No spawns at the end here besides like a couple gaunts. Nothing too crazy, nothing too threatening. I'm not too sure if this is dev intended or some sort of bug. Oh, you see a few gaunts up there. But yeah, it's very rare to find like majors in here or like a wave to begin with. I feel like some of these gaunts were just gaunts that we forgot about, maybe. And then still, with this operation specifically, like I said earlier, I really thought I just jumped in this operation just to get some, you know, adrenaline surge ground pounds, which is very satisfying for the CARNIFEX. And yeah, when it comes to fighting the CARNIFEX, I really think the blocking Thunderhammer or any sort of slams for the assault is really good to continuously stun them. And yes, of course, I have the highest melee damage. That was one thing I was meant to do in this operation, was to take out those CARNIFEXes. And yeah, we're pretty much onwards to a max level assault class on console. Very happy about that.